Betrayal is a word that carries its own kind of poison, but when it comes from the ones we call our family, the venom spreads deeper than anyone can imagine. Strangers may hurt us, friends may abandon us, but when the very blood that runs in our veins turns against us, the wound is not just on the surface, it carves itself into the soul. Growing up, we are taught that family is a shield, that brothers and sisters are companions who walk beside us in every storm, that parents are anchors we can cling to when the world grows cruel. We believe this not because we are naive, but because love is supposed to be the strongest bond of all. But when love turns into betrayal, it breaks not just the heart, but the very foundation on which a person builds their life. The pain of being betrayed by a family member is unlike any other because it comes from someone who knew your vulnerabilities, your fears, your dreams. They knew the very fabric of your being because they grew with you, laughed with you, shared memories that no outsider could ever understand. And so, when they choose to betray you, it is not by accident, it is by using the very trust you gave them as a weapon against you. A stranger cannot wound you with the same precision, because a stranger does not know the hidden chambers of your heart. Only family has the map to the places you guard most fiercely, and when they betray you, it is as if they set fire to your most sacred sanctuary. There is a cruelty in family betrayal that feels personal in a way nothing else does. When a brother takes what was yours, when a parent turns their back, when a sister's words cut sharper than a blade, it feels like being erased by the very people who were supposed to protect your existence. It leaves you questioning not just their love, but the very worth of your own being. You begin to wonder if all those years of shared laughter were illusions, if the arms that once held you close were always meant to push you away. And in that spiral of doubt, betrayal becomes more than just an action. It becomes a shadow that stains every memory you once cherished. The sharpness of betrayal from family is magnified by expectation. We expect strangers to harm us, we prepare ourselves for the cruelty of the world outside, but we never prepare ourselves for the war inside our own home. The walls we thought would keep us safe instead become prisons where our own blood plots against us. This is why the pain lingers longer, why the tears refuse to dry, because it feels unnatural. It feels like a distortion of the natural order, like the universe has turned itself inside out. How can the ones who share your story, your roots, your blood, choose to become your enemies? The mind struggles to accept it, and the heart bleeds silently in disbelief. There is also the weight of silence that comes with betrayal by family. Society tells us that family is sacred, that we must endure, forgive, forget. And so, when betrayal happens, many of us bury it deep within ourselves, hiding the scars because the world does not want to hear about the darkness within the family home. This silence becomes its own form of torture, forcing us to carry the burden alone, to swallow pain that only grows heavier with time. Every family gathering, every memory of childhood, every mention of loyalty becomes a reminder that our story is not one of unity, but of brokenness disguised behind smiles. Betrayal by family. The deepest betrayal often leaves behind not just pain, but a hunger. A hunger for justice, for answers, for balance to be restored. This hunger can consume, but it can also fuel. Many who are betrayed by family find themselves standing at a crossroads, to remain broken, or to rise from the ashes and reclaim what was lost. In that choice lies the true test of character. The betrayal may cut deeper than any other wound, but it also carves out the space for the strongest kind of transformation. It is said that wounds heal with time, but the wounds of family betrayal do not fade as easily. They remain as scars etched into the skin of memory, reminders of the day love turned into a weapon. But scars, though permanent, are also proof of survival. They are marks of battles endured, of pain overcome, of strength discovered in the midst of devastation. A scar from betrayal is not just a reminder of pain, it is also a reminder that you are still standing, still breathing, still capable of rising beyond the harm that was meant to destroy you. When family betrays you, they expect your downfall. They believe that because they know your weaknesses, they can break you completely. But what they often fail to realize is that in betraying you, they also awaken parts of you that had been sleeping. They ignite a fire of resilience, a storm of determination, a will to fight for yourself in ways you never thought possible. Betrayal cuts deep, but it also awakens strength buried even deeper. Losing everything is an experience that feels like being stripped bare in the middle of a storm, with no shelter, no protection, and no sense of where to run. At first, it feels like death in slow motion, like watching your life collapse piece by piece while you stand powerless to stop it. The home you once trusted, the security you once clung to, the people you once believed in, all of it vanishes, leaving only emptiness behind. The silence after loss is deafening, louder than any scream, because At first, this realization crushes you. You cry for the life you once had, for the moments you can never reclaim, for the sense of safety that has been stolen. But as the tears dry, something inside you hardens. You understand that strength is not about holding on to what you have, but about standing tall even when what you had is gone. True strength is not measured by possessions, titles, or relationships. It is measured by the way you rise after being shattered. The value of strength cannot be understood in times of comfort. It only reveals itself in times of destruction. When I lost everything, I learned that strength is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the only thing that keeps you breathing when your heart is heavy with grief. It is the invisible rope that pulls you forward when your legs refuse to move. It is the whisper in the back of your mind telling you to get up again, even when you have been knocked down so many times you can barely stand. Strength is not always loud or heroic, it can be quiet, it can be the simple act of surviving another day, of refusing to surrender to despair, of refusing to let those who betrayed you see you broken. At first, losing everything feels like the end. But in truth, it is often the beginning of discovering who you really are. When all is stripped away, you are forced to confront yourself in your rawest form, without the masks, without the roles, without the safety nets. And in that confrontation, you learn just how much you can endure. You discover that strength was always inside you, hidden beneath layers of comfort and security, waiting for the moment when you would finally need it. Losing everything becomes the fire that burns away weakness, leaving only resilience behind. There is a strange freedom in loss, though it does not feel like freedom at first. When you have nothing, there is nothing left for anyone to take from you. The worst has already happened, and in surviving it, you begin to realize that you are. Losing everything also strips away illusions about the people around you. You discover who truly stands beside you, and more importantly, you discover that sometimes you must stand alone. Loneliness becomes both your enemy and your teacher. In the silence of being abandoned, you find your own voice. In the absence of support, you learn to lean on yourself. And in that loneliness, you uncover a strength that does not depend on anyone else, a strength that cannot be stolen or betrayed, because it is yours alone. Strength gained from loss is different from ordinary strength. It is not built on victories or easy achievements, it is built on scars, on nights of sleepless crying, on days where you walked with a broken heart and still moved forward. It is built on the pain of betrayal, the emptiness of being left behind, the humiliation of seeing your efforts destroyed. And because it is built on such foundations, it cannot be destroyed easily. It becomes a permanent part of you, like armor forged in fire, unyielding, unshakable, tested by every storm. The value of strength becomes clear when you realize that without it, loss would have destroyed you completely. Without it, you would have remained broken, unable to rise, unable to reclaim what was yours. But with strength, loss becomes transformation. It becomes the fuel that drives you to rebuild, to fight back, to prove not only to others but to yourself that you are far greater than what was taken from you. The ones who betrayed you believed they had ended you, but what they really did was awaken a power they could never control. Every time you fall and rise again, you gain another layer of strength. Every time you face the memory of what you lost and refuse to let it defeat you, you grow sharper, wiser, more resilient. Strength does not erase the pain of loss, but it gives the pain purpose. It turns grief into determination, emptiness into hunger, and betrayal into resolve. It transforms loss from a tragedy into a step. Silence has always been misunderstood. People look at someone who does not speak, who does not fight back immediately, and they assume defeat. They mistake stillness for surrender, quietness for fear, and calmness for weakness. But silence is never empty. Silence is the space where storms are born, where rage sharpens itself into clarity, where broken pieces gather themselves into something far more dangerous than before. Those who underestimate silence do not realize it is the most powerful form of preparation, because it is in silence that strength gathers its breath before unleashing itself. When betrayal strikes, the first instinct is to scream, to demand answers, to shout the pain into the world so that everyone can hear it. But sometimes the loudest scream is the one buried deep inside, the one that is never spoken. It is in silence that pain becomes fuel, that betrayal transforms into strategy. Speaking too soon, reacting too fast, only gives the enemy satisfaction. But silence denies them that pleasure. Silence is where you retreat, not to hide forever, but to plan, to rebuild, to turn wounds into weapons. People often mistake silence for powerlessness because they cannot see the battles happening within. But the truth is, silence is where the real war begins. Every thought, every memory of betrayal, every moment of grief is replayed in that silence, not to break you further, but to remind you of why you must rise. While others see you as weak, sitting in the shadows, you are in fact forging yourself into something unstoppable. They believe you are defeated because you are quiet, but what they do not know is that silence is where you become most dangerous. Silence is patience, and patience is sharper than any blade. In silence, you learn to wait, to watch, to observe every move of those who wronged you. You see their arrogance grow as they think you are finished, you watch them grow careless because they no longer fear you, and in that carelessness, they exp. Silence also protects you. Words spoken in anger can be used against you, actions taken too quickly can become traps, but silence keeps you untouchable. It leaves others guessing, uncertain of what you are thinking, what you are planning, when you will strike. That uncertainty is power. It makes them restless, it makes them underestimate you, it makes them believe they have won. And there is nothing more satisfying than letting them drown in that false sense of victory, knowing that you are simply waiting for the perfect moment to reveal the strength you have been building in silence. Silence does not mean acceptance. It does not mean you forgive, or forget, or let betrayal slide. It means you are choosing not to waste energy on words that fall on deaf ears. It means you are channeling all your fury into action rather than noise. Weakness is loud because it needs to be seen, but strength is silent because it does not need validation. In silence, you do not beg for justice, you prepare to take it with your own hands. There is a power in silence that those who love chaos will never understand. Betrayers thrive on noise, on reactions, on watching their victims break down in front of them. But when you meet betrayal with silence, you starve them of that satisfaction. You show them nothing, not even your pain. They believe they have crushed you, but what they are really seeing is your mask, carefully placed, while underneath it you are rebuilding, stronger than they ever imagined. Silence is your shield, but also your sword, because when the time comes to reveal what you have been preparing for, the blow is devastating. Silence teaches you control. It teaches you to master your emotions instead of letting them master you. It teaches you to breathe when all you want to do is scream, to plan when all you want to do is destroy, to wait when all you want to do is strike. This control is what makes you powerful, because power without control is reckless, but power with control. And perhaps the greatest gift of silence is transformation. In silence, you are not just waiting, you are growing. You are turning pain into strength, betrayal into strategy, wounds into wisdom. You are teaching yourself that you do not need to announce your strength to prove you have it. You are becoming someone new, someone who no longer needs validation, someone who is no longer afraid of loss or betrayal because you have learned the secret that silence whispers: power grows best in the shadows. Those who mistake silence for weakness will one day face the truth. They will see that silence was the armor you wore while healing, the furnace where your rage became steel, the darkness where your light sharpened itself. And when you finally rise, they will understand that silence was never weakness at all, it was the most dangerous kind of preparation. Revenge is one of the most misunderstood emotions in the world. People often label it as hatred, as bitterness, as a sign of someone consumed by anger, but that is not the truth. Revenge, when it is born from betrayal, is not about hating the one who wronged you, it is about reclaiming what they tried to take away. It is about restoring dignity, about proving that their cruelty could not erase your worth, about making sure they understand that you are not someone who can be destroyed and forgotten. Hate burns quickly and fades, but the desire to reclaim dignity burns steadily, patiently, until the moment arrives when it can no longer be denied. When someone betrays you, it is not just about losing trust or possessions or relationships. It is about the humiliation that comes with it, the way they look into your eyes with the belief that they have broken you, that you will never rise again. That humiliation is heavier than the pain itself, because it feels as if they have stripped away your dignity, reduced you to someone powerless, someone voiceless. But revenge whispers differently. It whispers that dignity is not theirs. Hate seeks to destroy others. Dignity seeks to rebuild yourself. That is the difference. Hate makes you reckless, but the hunger for dignity makes you patient, calculating, and unshakable. It teaches you that revenge is not about lowering yourself to their level, it is about lifting yourself above the ruins they left behind. It is not about proving them wrong with words, but proving them wrong with your survival, your strength, and your undeniable victory. Revenge becomes the fire that cleanses you, not because you despise them, but because you refuse to let their betrayal be the final chapter of your story. There is a unique kind of satisfaction that comes not from watching someone suffer, but from reclaiming what they thought they had stolen forever. They may have taken your trust, your belongings, your name, your peace, but when you reclaim your dignity, you take back something far greater. Dignity is the foundation of self-respect. Without it, even victories feel hollow. With it, even scars shine with pride. That is why revenge matters. It is not about hate for them, it is about love for yourself. It is about telling yourself that you were worth fighting for, worth rising for, worth avenging. People will say that forgiveness is strength, that letting go is noble, but those words often come from those who have never been cut as deeply as you have. They do not understand the emptiness that betrayal leaves, the way it gnaws at your very identity, the way it makes you question your value. Revenge is not the opposite of forgiveness, it is the process of restoring balance. It is not about destroying the betrayer, it is about destroying the power they thought they had over you. They believed they had silenced you, ended you, erased you, but revenge makes sure the truth cannot be hidden. It gives you back the dignity they tried to bury. Reclaiming dignity through revenge does not always mean striking with violence or cruelty. Sometimes the sweetest revenge is success, the cue. When you reclaim dignity, you reclaim control over your story. Betrayal writes chapters filled with loss, with shame, with silence, but revenge tears those pages apart and writes a new one. It says, "This is not how my story ends. This is not who I am. You thought you defined me with your cruelty, but I define myself with my strength." That shift is powerful, because it turns you from a victim into a warrior, from someone who was wronged into someone who rose, from someone silenced into someone whose voice cannot be ignored. Hate poisons the heart, but dignity strengthens it. When you chase revenge out of hate, it consumes you, blinds you, leaves you empty even when you succeed. But when you chase revenge to reclaim dignity, it rebuilds you, fuels you, makes you whole again. Every step you take, every plan you make, every victory you earn becomes a piece of your dignity returned. The betrayer becomes secondary in this journey, because the true victory is not what you do to them, but what you restore within yourself. Revenge is about memory. It is about refusing to forget who you are beneath the scars. It is about looking into the mirror and seeing someone unbroken, someone who refuses to be defined by betrayal. Dignity is not given by others, it is claimed by yourself. And revenge is the path toward that claim, the declaration that you will not be erased, that your worth cannot be stolen, that your soul is stronger than their betrayal. Those who wronged you will never understand this. They will say you are bitter, angry, consumed by hate, because they cannot admit the truth. They fear you. They fear the strength you have built in silence, the fire you carry in your heart, the storm they know is coming. They wanted you to disappear, but instead, you rise higher. They wanted you to beg, but instead, you fight. They wanted you to stay broken, but instead, you reclaim dignity with every breath, every step, every victory. In the end, revenge is not about destroying them, it is about rebuilding you. It is about showing that no matter what they tried to do, your dignity remained untouchable, waiting for you to reclaim it. It is about proving to yourself, and to the world, that betrayal may wound the body, may shatter the heart, may strip away everything you thought you had, but it can never erase the fire of dignity inside you. And when you take revenge, when you rise again, when you reclaim that fire, you carry a power greater than hate, greater than pain, greater than anything they could ever understand. Every wound carries a story, and every scar carries a memory. At first, a wound feels like the end. It burns, it bleeds, it weakens. It makes you believe you are broken, that the pain will define you forever, that the betrayal or the loss that caused it has left you too shattered to stand again. But wounds do not have to remain as weakness. With time, with will, with determination, wounds can be transformed into weapons. What once was a mark of pain becomes a mark of power, proof that you endured, proof that you survived, proof that you are not the same person who once fell to the ground. The wound that was meant to destroy you becomes the very reason you rise stronger than ever. Every wound carries knowledge. Pain teaches lessons in ways comfort never can. When someone betrays you, when someone tears away the trust you placed in them, that wound teaches you where your blind spots were, where your weaknesses lived, where you gave too much without guarding yourself. The lesson is painful, but it is sharp, and once learned, it cannot be unlearned. That lesson itself becomes a weapon, a shield that protects you from ever being caught unaware again. What once was a wound inflicted by another's cruelty becomes a weapon in your hands, a warning that guides you, a reminder that makes you vigilant, stronger, wiser. Wounds also build resilience. Every time you are hurt, your spirit has a choice. Wounds carve scars, and scars speak louder than words. Scars tell the world that you survived. They tell your enemies that their worst was not enough to end you. They remind you every day of what you went through, but instead of breaking you, they fortify you. Scars become your armor. They are no longer soft, open wounds. They are hardened lines of memory, etched into your skin and soul, symbols of your unbreakable will. To someone who once hurt you, seeing those scars is like looking into a mirror of their failure, because what they meant to destroy has become the very thing that makes you invincible. Every wound also awakens a hunger. When someone takes from you, betrays you, or leaves you bleeding, the wound they leave behind carries a fire. That fire can consume you if left untamed, but if you control it, it becomes the greatest weapon of all. It drives you to fight harder, to rise higher, to never let them or anyone else hold power over you again. It is a hunger for justice, for strength, for dignity, for victory. That hunger becomes a weapon sharper than any blade, because it fuels your every step until you reclaim what is yours. The most dangerous warriors are not the ones who have never been wounded, but the ones who have been wounded deeply and refuse to stay down. Every wound they carry has taught them something, given them something, built them into something greater. Their enemies believed the wounds would weaken them, but instead, those wounds became a collection of weapons, a library of strength, a source of endless resolve. Every cut became a reason to fight harder, every scar became a badge of survival, every betrayal became fuel for vengeance. A wound can also teach empathy, and even empathy can be turned into a weapon. When you know pain, you understand it in others, you see it in their eyes, and you know how to use it, how to heal it, or how to strike where it hurts most. Knowledge of pain is power, because it connects you to the deepest truths of. In silence, wounds heal. In healing, they transform. In transformation, they become the strongest parts of you. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every humiliation becomes a reminder that you cannot be broken the same way twice. The wound once used against you now belongs to you. You wield it as a weapon, whether it is resilience, wisdom, hunger, or strength. What was once the source of your suffering becomes the source of your vengeance. The beauty of turning wounds into weapons is that they are invisible to those who inflicted them until it is too late. They believe they left you broken, but when they face you again, they face someone they no longer recognize. They see a survivor carved from pain, a warrior forged from scars, someone whose very presence carries the weight of battles endured. And in that moment, they understand too late that every wound they gave you only built the weapon that will bring their downfall. There comes a moment after betrayal, after loss, after being torn apart, when you realize that taking back what was stolen from you is not enough. At first, the hunger is for justice, for reclaiming the pieces of yourself that someone else tried to shatter. You think all you want is to return to what you had before, to restore what was taken, to erase the pain and walk back into the life you once knew. But the truth is, once you have been broken, you cannot go back to being who you were. The fire of betrayal burns away the old version of yourself, and in its ashes, something new is forged. You take back what was yours, yes, but in the process, you become unbreakable. Taking back what was mine was never just about possessions or victories. It was about reclaiming dignity, pride, and strength. It was about looking into the eyes of those who thought they had ended me and showing them that I was not only still standing, but stronger than they could ever imagine. Every step I took toward reclaiming what was stolen became a step away from weakness, a step. Taking back what was mine was the beginning, but transformation was the true victory. What they stole was temporary, money, trust, love, security, but what I gained was eternal. I gained the kind of strength that no one can take away, the kind that lives in your bones, in your scars, in your very breath. They thought they broke me, but what they really did was break the shell of who I was so that the unbreakable version of myself could be born. I became someone who no longer fears betrayal, because I know I can survive it. I became someone who no longer fears loss, because I know I can rebuild. I became someone who no longer fears pain, because I know pain only makes me stronger. There is a kind of power that comes from survival, a kind of fire that cannot be extinguished once it has been lit. The people who betrayed me thought they were taking everything from me, but instead, they gave me a gift they never intended, the gift of transformation. They awakened a strength I never would have found if I had not been forced into the fire. They created an enemy they could never defeat, because I was no longer playing by the rules of who I used to be. I had become unbreakable, and unbreakable cannot be conquered. Taking back what was mine meant facing them again, not as the broken figure they imagined, but as a storm they could not control. They expected weakness, they expected fear, they expected me to crumble the way I once did. But when I stood before them, I carried not only what I had reclaimed but also the unshakable truth that I had risen beyond them. They could not take from me anymore, because I no longer measured myself by what they could steal. My worth was no longer in their hands, it was carved into my own unbreakable spirit. Becoming unbreakable is not about never being hurt again. Pain will always come, betrayal may strike again, wounds may open. But unbreakable does not mean untouchable, it means indestructible. It means that no matter how hard the world strikes, the unbreakable self is not born from victory alone, it is born from loss, from nights of suffering, from moments of despair turned into defiance. It is born when you realize that your enemy's greatest mistake was believing they could end you. They believed betrayal would weaken me, but it only revealed my true strength. They believed loss would shatter me, but it only taught me to rebuild better. They believed silence would mean defeat, but silence was where I prepared. Everything they thought would destroy me became the reason I became unbreakable. Taking back what was mine was justice, but becoming unbreakable was destiny. I no longer carry the weight of fear, because I know nothing can destroy me completely. I no longer carry the chains of doubt, because I know my scars are not signs of weakness but marks of power. I no longer carry the shame of betrayal, because I know betrayal did not define me, it refined me. I became something they could never imagine, something beyond their reach, something beyond their power. They may have taken everything once, but now there is nothing left they can take. They may have broken me once, but now there is nothing left they can break. They may have silenced me once, but now my silence carries more weight than their words ever could. I did not just take back what was mine, I became unbreakable, and unbreakable is not just who I am now, it is who I will remain forever.